Hello, fourth grade. This week we're going to work on lesson 13, nested loops with frozen. So to review, a nested loop is a loop inside a loop. It's a repeat of the repeat. And on this week, you have a little bit more freedom to draw what you want. So I'll walk through some example solutions, but you will have the ability to put your own spin on it. So let's take a look at some of the drawing activities here. So we'll take a look at this. So it says draw a small shape between 20 and 50 pixels wide. It can be any shape you like. So, you can do what you like here. I'll make a little square and I'll turn right. And square has 4 sides. And I'll repeat this 4 times to make a square. If you want to do a triangle, you would turn right by 120. If you want to make a triangle, you could set the color if you would like as well. So let's take a look. I click run. Here's my little square. I click finish. Okay, so let's take a look at the next one. So now we're going to build on what we just did, and they take our code from the first one, and they say, now let's draw more than one. Now take your shape and draw it 2 or 3 times in a row by jumping forward by some number of pixels. If you jump forward by less than the width of your shape, they might overlap. If you jump forward by more than the width of the shape, you will get a gap. Okay, so you can pick which one you'd like to do. So you could change your color if you'd like. And now what we need to do is now we need to look to add a jump in. Okay, so we have our square. And let's just run the square again so we see how it looks. Okay, we want to jump forward. Okay. So I'll jump forward by, let's try 70. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so now what they want us to do is they want us to make 3 in a row. So we're going to do a nested loop. We're going to do a loop inside a loop. And you don't have to do 3. You could do a different number if you'd like. So we're going to, this first loop makes the square, then we jump. And then we're going to run our program again, make another square, and we'll do it 3 times for 3 jumps. So let's take a look. Okay, so that's that, and you click finish. Let's take a look at the next one. Okay, continue. So now we have jump, okay? So let's make it into a snowflake. So how do we make it into a snowflake? We want Elsa back to the center using the jump to 200 over and 200 down block and spin her around to draw the line of shapes again and again in a bunch of different directions. What amazing snowflakes you can make. So we're going to make a snowflake like this, okay? Or you can make a different shape like this. So let's take a look at how we could do this. So this is our code from our previous one. Okay, so we already have our code from our previous run. Okay, so that's our first design. And now what we need to do is we're going to jump. And they gave us this other block, jump. Where was it? They have jump to and over. Okay, so we have jump to and over. And let's see what they said us to do. They want us to do jump to 200 over and 200 down. Okay, so they want us to use that. And we could put this in here on the top because we want her to jump, and we also going to want her to turn a little bit. So we could try, different ways. Let's see what they let us do here. Let's see if we do different ones. You can experiment. Let's try 65 here, and you could put what you like here, different turns, and I'll put a jump. And let's do this. Let's try it. If we do this, let's try it 5 times. We'll see what happens. Again, everyone's will look a little different, but let's just experiment. Okay, so let's just take a look how this one goes. Reset, we run. Okay, so I could make this 12 times maybe if I want to do a few more. But see what happens is when you do this jump 200 over and 200 down, that gets you back to the center. So we make a square with our first loop. Then when we run our next loop, we go back to the center. So it's okay if yours does not look exactly like this, but we're making snowflakes. So everyone's maybe a little different, and that's okay. But we just want to get the sense of doing a nested loop. So now what do they want us to do? Let's see what they say. What happens if we draw snowflakes on top of each other? Try layering two different shapes of snowflakes on top of one another with a little turn in between. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to do the same thing. We want to do another snowflake, but it will be a little different. So we could start with the jump. We need the jump. We need the jump to and jump over. So here's jump to and jump over. So we're going to make it very similar in codes. Well, we still need to jump over 200 and jump down 200. Okay, so we also want that turn right, but we could change it. Rather than we used 65 last time, we could try, let's try 45. So we have that. And now what do we want to do? Maybe I want to do a triangle. Okay, so if I want to do a triangle, how could I do a triangle? I'm going to do this. And eventually this code is going to go all under here. We could say I'm going to do a triangle. And the way you do a triangle is you're going to move forward. And then you're going to turn left by 190. That's going to be a triangle. 120. I'm sorry, 120 I should say. So here's our triangle. Then what we want to do is we want to jump forward. And I'll start moving this down so that everyone can see all of those here. We want to jump forward after our triangle. And what we want to do is we want to repeat that entire process again. Okay. And we also could, let's add a turn in here. Let's add a turn. Let's add a turn. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so it's really about experimenting here. And let's repeat that. Let's repeat this whole thing. Let's repeat it. Let's try 5 times. Okay, 5 times. So let's see how it goes. And we're going to put this out here. So what we have is we have a loop here, and we have our nested loop, our loop inside the loop. We have a lot of loops here, and then we're just repeating another triangle over here. So let's see how it looks. It's all about experimenting in the center. So I made triangles in the center. And okay, let's take a look at the next one. So with this one, get creative with shapes and angles to see what kind of new snowflakes we can draw. Okay, so if you want to, what you can do now is you can really experiment. So I could say, hey, I don't want to do this. I want to make this 55 different angles and different shapes. So what I would do is I would turn a lot of these ones. Let's try 35. Let's see down here if we could turn right by 120. Let's just see how it goes. We could jump. Let's jump 200. So you change the pixels to make it jump in a different length, and you can change the angles to make different shapes. So let's see how this goes now. There's our squares, and now it's not as sharp of an angle. We lowered the angle. Okay, let's see. And then those are our triangles in the center. Okay, so if you want to try different things, you can try different things. You can add your own here. Let's take a look at the next one. They want to make a zigzag pattern here. Okay, so we're going to draw a stair-step pattern that uses turns between 75 and 105 degrees, but make sure your left and right turns use the same angle. Okay, so now we're going to make almost like a staircase here, zigzag they're calling it. So what do we need to do first? Well, first we have to move forward, and then we're going to turn right. Now how much should we turn right by? Between 75 and 105. So I'll put 75, and they want us to use the same angle over and over. So then we're going to move forward, and now we want to turn left because we're doing a zigzag. Turn left. So if we turned right by 75, we should turn left by 75. And by the way, you could always set your color to a different color if you would like. You put your color in, whichever you like. Let's take a look if we do this one time. Okay, that looks good, but let's loop it 10 times. Okay, so we have that. We have a nice little design over there. I'm going to click Finish. And there's your drawing that you can see. And let's look at the next one. Now let's turn and go back the way we came. Turn around 180 degrees and draw the exact same pattern again. The rest of the stage will be easier if you put all your code inside a loop to make Elsa draw, turn, and draw, turn around 180 degrees, draw, and then turn around 180 degrees. So let's take a look at how we're going to do it. So first, let's just look at our design. Here's our design that makes our zigzag pattern, okay? And if you want to make it smaller, you can make this, let's say 20. Make this 20, and this makes it smaller. Let's take a look at how that goes. Now she does a smaller little pattern there. It's up to you how you want to do it. So what are they telling us to do? They want us to, after we make our zigzag pattern, they want us to turn right. By how many? They want 180 degrees, they told us. Okay, so let's take a look how that goes. So now Elsa's turning around. You can't see her, but she's turning around, and now she's facing this way. And then what do they want Elsa to do? They want her to go back and go this way again. So let's see. Let's repeat that whole thing. And let's make this a little small so it stays on the screen so everybody can see it. Okay, so now I want you to see that she turns around. And now we're going to turn right by 180 degrees. And then what are we going to do? We're going to loop the whole thing again. That she goes back. So let's take a look how it looks. Okay, so she made a nice design. Now let's see if we do this. You could experiment. Let's do this 8 times. Let's see how it looks. Okay, so here's her nice little design that she makes. And you can experiment with different angles as long as you use the same degree turn, and it's got to be between what they say on the other one. I think they said you can't go below above 105 degrees. And if you make this bigger, she makes a longer stride, a longer writing. If it's smaller, then she does a smaller one. Okay, so let's look at the next one. Okay, there's your drawing, and you could save your drawing if you'd like, but if you log in, it will save it. Let's spin around and make a snowflake. Spin that shape around 5 or 6 times in a circle. If you choose 5 times, try a turn of 72 degrees. If you try 6 times, use a turn of 60 degrees, because 6 times 6 is 360, and we have 360 degrees in a circle. So let's take a look. So let's just run our shape first. Okay, so what do they want us to do? Well, we're going to have our repeat loop, right? Because they said repeat it how many times? 5 or 6 times. Now I'm going to pick 6 times. And what they say to do if we're doing it 6 times? Try a turn of 60 degrees. So I'm going to do a turn right by 60 degrees. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to use the jump 200 over 200 down. That gets me back to the center after each turn. Okay, so we use this. So what this does is this turns 60 degrees, and we do it 6 times, because 6 times 60 is 360. That makes a circle. And jump to 200 over 200 down. That gets you right back to the center. So let's just see what happens if we repeat this entire thing here. So we're going to put this whole thing underneath, and we'll just see how this goes. Let's see how this looks. Now she goes back to the center. We finished them. Let's look at the last one. Now, what should we do? Let's explore and create our own winter wonderland. Try playing around with what you created. Draw whatever you like. What happens if you use 2 different angles in your stair step pattern? Well, let's make this 55, and make that 75. What does it look like to draw 2 snowflakes on top of one another? Okay, so let's look at a few different things we can do here. And we could change these around here. You could change the angles. You could turn, we have that in here. Let's just see how that looks first. Wow, when you change the angle, it makes it a different design.